Thanks very much for having me. My name is Raine, and I run an organisation called Hello Sunday Morning. Who's heard of Hello Sunday Morning in here? Just so, wow, never expected. That's amazing. Normally get a few hands, and I do a lot of presentations at universities and things like that, and normally get maybe 2 or 3. And when you go into university and try and sell the idea of not drinking, it's an incredibly difficult task, and starting from a group of people that don't know it's even harder. So it's a great place to start. Hello Sunday Morning started with my year of not drinking, but has now become a much greater thing. And I wanted to share today a couple of stories that I've got from that experience, and I actually wanted to share my own personal story, which I think it often is a little bit less inspiring than some of the people that are on there, but has been incredibly important to me. And I want to sort of share that and sort of explain how the experiences that I've had through Hello Sunday Morning and the person I am today, how that's been influenced and how I see that in those around that do the program now. It started when I was working at an advertising agency in 2008, and I had no interest in the topics we're discussing this week. I had no interest in policy creation or how young people use drugs or didn't. In fact, I was quite a heavy drinker myself, and at that point we were asked to come up with a couple of campaigns that would change the way young people drank. And working for an agency in Brisbane, we used alcohol as this creative process in everything that we did. And my family drank, we had a bottle of wine with every meal that we had. My friends drank every single weekend. It was just something that we always did. So coming up with something that would contradict that was inherently hypocritical. So it was upon that realization and realizing that a good family member actually qualified me, and we were coming up with these campaigns, and he said, Chris, you can either do something like every other campaign out there, every other government campaign that just blows smoke and mirrors, or you can do something that's going to make a difference. And I decided that, all right, I don't know what would make a difference, but I'm going to spend 12 months finding out. So it was at that point, one family occasion, when I was qualified in that way, that I decided to spend 12 months without drinking and I guess go through an experience to find out what it would actually take for a 22-year-old to change, and hopefully at the end of my 12 months, I could, go pitch back to the agency to, have this great program or this great sort of campaign that we could roll out, So it started as a research project. 3 months into that experience, as you can imagine, has anyone gone an extended period without drinking like that? Yeah. Excellent. So you can imagine the experiences you have are quite difficult as a young person, is socially normalized in that way. I'll go a new one. I'm so sorry. I feel really embarrassed about losing yours. All right. I don't know where it's gone. It's totally disappeared. This is in no way a reflection of the organisation that I run, please. There are much more talented people working for us Sunday morning than I. So yeah, 3 months into my HSM, I found it incredibly difficult. And you can see all that online now. So I used the blog to journal my experiences and what I was going through, and the challenges that I faced as a young person that was doing that. And it was an interesting dynamic. The first couple of weeks I was going out, and I was wondering where I put my hands, or like, how do I dance, without drinking, because that's something that I've always done. So it was these little quirky insights that I found and then recorded on the blog. And it was actually a quite confronting thing. So living in Brisbane, going out in the valley, it was quite in your face. Like if you've ever gone out into the valley on a Friday or Saturday night and you've been a part of that drinking culture and been contributing to it heavily, and then all of a sudden you're out on the outer and you're seeing it for the first time, I was a little bit critical, I'm going to say. But I found that was a little bit alienating for a lot of the people around me, and it was confronting and important, but it was an interesting sort of insight into where I was at the stage. So 3 months into it, I was like, well, I'm gonna need other people to join me on this crusade of finding out what it takes for a young person to change their way they drink. Having done all this sort of critiquing of the culture, I was like, who wants to join me? Who wants to be part of this and do 3, 6, or 12 months of the 12 months? And so I put it out on Facebook, and I was like, all right, who wants to be part of this? And then my mates that were this is my last drink on New Year's Eve. this guy, James, he was not interested. And then, and then following that, I was like, okay, so maybe I should extend it past my immediate network and maybe ask a few people out there that I'm maybe not necessarily close friends with, but might be interested, maybe not as heavy drinkers as my close network. And so I put it on Facebook and I was like, all right, who wants to join me? And there's how many people responded on that particular post. So that was 3 months into my 12-month experience, and I was still going to carry through and finish the 12 months and then close the blog down at the end, and take what I've learned from it and probably go back to the way I was drinking before. 4 months into it, something quite amazing happened. I had this experience that radically changed my life, and a few people in the room have heard this story, and I tell it over and over again because it's one of those experiences in life that I think everyone should have. One of those rare times where that defining moment of clarity. And I went down to Blues Fest, and it was the first festival that I'd gone to sober. So I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur, made a bunch of cash from doing party buses to and from the festivals, and then all the cash would go away into drinking. So I spent this copious amounts of alcohol and complete inebriation at these festivals and this experience, and all of a sudden didn't have that. So I was like, okay, this festival's going to be interesting. The first time. So I went down to Byron and I arrived at the festival and I seem to have lost my mates, or maybe my mates lost me, I'm not too sure. But I turned up, and then I ended up going to see this one performer that I'd only seen once before, and his name was Michael Franti. And I was standing there watching this guy perform, and I was like, oh my God, like he just had this whole crowd of 5,000 people just completely captivated by what he was saying. They were he was saying, everyone jump, and the whole crowd was jumping, and then following that performance, everyone was singing on the way home. And it was a moment of realization. I was like, well, if I want to inspire the change and people around me and in the culture at large, then I'd be like this guy, I can't be the guy pointing the finger going, there's something inherently wrong with the culture. I need the person that's willing to stand up and put myself in that position where I'm inspiring people to jump up and dance with. So seeing Michael Franti was that defining moment in my life, and the sort of turning point, I think, in Hello Sunday Morning, where I was like, how can I make this a little bit bigger than me? So the secret sort of first experience that I had was coming back from this festival, and I was like, okay, the rest of this year it's going to be a yes man year. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to put myself through these experiences. I'm going to push myself out there socially so that I can really test the barriers as to what you can and can't do while you're not drinking. And my mate sent me an invitation to another party, and normally for the first 3 months I sort of rejected a lot of the party offers because I was afraid of how they would be, or who would be there, and feeling awkward. And so my mate invited me to this freaks party, and I was like, yeah, all right, I'm going to do it. You know what? Fuck it. This is the point. This is my time where I'm going to actually go and push myself out there, and it was going to be awkward, but I'm going to have a good time, and I'm going to push it as far as I can. So we go home, and we didn't have really much costume, but and I've got a piece from that costume which I'd like to share with you all, but you're going to need to close your eyes, otherwise you might be a little bit offended. So on the count of 3, I want you all to close your eyes and not open them until I say so. So you ready? 1, 2, 3. No peeking. So this was the outfit that we ended up in. And it might seem surprising to you that I'm wearing underpants on my outside, but this was the defining moment of my life, and let me tell you why. So I'm dressed like this, and I'm not, I enjoy doing this kind of stuff now, but at that point I was not the most confident person around, especially, when I was drinking, I was, the party animal, but this is the first experience. I was like, okay, if I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out. So I'll tell you a quick story. We turn up at the party we're supposed to go to in West End, and my mate's like, all right, he's wearing these tight leopard skin pants. There's this freaks party we're supposed to be at. And we turn up, and we get to the front porch, and there's this whole, hello. There's this whole porch load of people on the front. And so we turn up, and we're about to go into the party, and so we're like a little bit nervous, and we're sort of geeing ourselves up, and get in there, and it's not very well lit, and so we sort of stroll into the front, open the front gate and open in, and then all of a sudden, you know, when you come out of the light and you see the party, and they're all dressed in normal clothes. And so we're dressed like this, and you can imagine how I was feeling at that point. And so I was like, okay, all right. And then someone yells out, oh, the strippers are here. And so it's doubly embarrassing. And so, okay, let's just walk out the back, go through the house, and then there's music out the other side, so we must have missed the house number by one. So we go out and we get out to the back porch, and then we see the music, and there's heaps of people in the next yard, and we're like, okay, it must be that. So we'll just jump over the fence, and no one will be the wiser. We'll just forget this experience. So we jump over the fence, and Brendan and I jump at the same time. And at that moment, like, this music seems to stop in this next party. We fall over the fence, and we land in a heap together and look up, and it's the wrong party again. And it was at that point, and we ended up finding, the party again, and had a great time on the night. But it was that point that I was like, wow, this sort of awkward experience is putting myself out there, being willing to wear underpants on the outside of my stretchy orange, whatever they are, is actually the most revealing thing I've ever had. And having this experience sober really reinforced me as a person, made me comfortable in my own skin. And to be able to do that is something that I think most Hello Sunday Morning people share in their experience. And this is what I like to call the HSM moment. So when people go through their 3, 6, or 12 months, this is the moment, the one experience that they have in that time that's incredibly inspiring. And it's a story that, I guess, changes the perceptions that we have around needing alcohol or needing drugs. And all these sort of stories were shared online, and after that point, other people started taking notice, and then I started putting it out there, who else wants to do this? And it's grown now. We started growing slowly, and then it picked up towards last year and became an organisation, and now there's 700 people across the country, and over in New Zealand and UK, and all over Australia and all over the world. It's really inspiring that are going through this experience and wearing the underpants on the outside, all for the sake of, I guess, growing as individuals and having an experiment where they can inspire others. A couple of examples that I want to share. Callum's the first one. He's an 18-year-old from Brisbane, and he was one of the first people to do a HSM. And he reflected in his experience when he said, I danced and made a complete fool of myself, but had the most fun out I've had all year. A friend of mine spoke to me as we were walking outside, dude, I thought you said you weren't drinking. I'd be lying if I said I didn't smile. And it's that moment that I think through doing a HSM that a lot of young people can really inspire other people around in their networks to, I guess, question their own relationship with alcohol. And the second example was actually sitting in front of us here. Jill forgot her red undies today, but actually I want to specifically acknowledge Jill, who is doing a HSM but is also a journalist for The Age. And her article that she recently wrote, which if you'd like to read it, please get in touch and I'll send it to you, was probably one of the most brilliant portrayals of the HSM experience I've ever had or ever seen. And embarrassingly, overnight, pretty much she doubled my 2 years worth of efforts of talking and stuff like that in terms of getting people to sign up. So she should really be up here talking. So actually, I'd like to acknowledge you for that. Thanks. And what I'd really like to acknowledge, Jill, is that as a journalist, you're often objective on what's going on. You're sort of reporting in that way. But when unique opportunities come to stand up and share your experience, 5 minutes, sorry. I do ramble. In that way is really quite inspiring, so thank you. And this is one sort of quote that I love from her last post, which is, last night as I slid along the polished floors of my knees, rocking out the air guitar to Bon Jovi, it occurred to me, I don't need alcohol to be ridiculous. So we have these people that all over the country wearing their red underpants, out on the weekend and being incredibly inspiring and doing this not because they need to. Most people that do a Hello Sunday Morning really don't have a problem with drinking. Like, I know, even myself, I don't think I had a problem with drinking. But we do it probably mostly, I like to think, because there's people out there that can't. There's people out there that don't have that confidence, don't have that capacity to be who they want to be. And this is a space where people can come, anyone from all ages, to share their story and go through that experience themselves. So the first element of Hello Sunday Morning is really believing, and the ability to believe in yourself and that you can be whoever you want. You can be confident, you can be yourself, and you can be an Australian without needing to drink. That alcohol is actually a choice and not an expectation. And our vision, I guess, as an organisation is that we can find people out there that are willing to contribute to that. And that comes down to belonging. So I haven't got too much time, but I would like, if any of you want to talk further, but for more than that, I'd like to hopefully open an invitation to anyone here that is or would be able to do a Hello Sunday Morning, to step up and do one at some point. All you need to do is not drink for 3, 6 or 12 months. Go through experiences, have fun, get dressed up, go out, be excellent and live excellently for a short period of life, and then tell as much of your story as you like. And it's through those stories and through our vision is to get 10,000 people across the world by 2013 that we can collectively change the way that we use alcohol and the way that we perceive that we need it in social situations.